Hey, buddy, doing good. How about yourself?
Just call me Plastic Man.
Plastic man, or
That's right. I just got to
plastic?
explain. My name's Plastic EP. It comes from the record with two songs on one side, two songs on the other. That's the EP part. And instead of being made of vinyl, it's made of plastic. That's where the name comes, Plastic EP.
Now, now I don't know why I knew that, but I think I figured that out already.
Well,
How's it going, Plastic? It's such a pleasure meeting you guys here.
I want to thank you so much for coming on the show and get right into it with Cathy here. We want to know how you started with Barry Gordy and what you had. You set up shop in New York or something. What was the name of the record company?
Oh boy, long story short. Okay, how I got hooked up with Motown. I was in New York doing the around the. I guess you heard about the Brill Building in
Yeah,
New
of
York.
course.
I was one of the writers around, just new in town, and I had a group called the Serenaders. And when I heard Motown was coming to town, I arranged an audition for the Ray Gordy, who was Barry's wife and head of the company. And Barry was in town that day, and he came by, and we auditioned, and it was a success. So we got signed right away. Uh, he not only signed us as artists, and we ended up cutting the record for Motown with Barry producing. But we also, my partner and I got signed to the publishing company in the new publishing company in New York as staff writers and A&R guys, because we proved that we were good with working with new acts, so we were helping out that way. And it was a fun time.
Just tell me some of the songs that you've written, because I'm sure they're familiar with people.
Oh, I wrote biggest one I think is "I Bet You." I wrote it with George Clinton, and Jackson 5 recorded it, Funkadelic recorded it, 5 or 6 other people recorded it. George and I wrote a lot of songs with George Clinton. Worked with him for years. The Parliament, we cut a lot of records on them. When Gold worked at Golden World Records, cut a record called "Can't Shake It Loose," Supremes, Motown. JJ Barnes on Golden World. Oh man, it had a lot of Muddy Waters recorded one of my songs on his Muddy Electric Mud album. The list is too many songs, man. I had about 200 songs recorded. I'm on about 100 as a writer, or a singer, or a backup or lead musician, which I rarely play anything. But I'm on 150 compilations worldwide, so as something, So I've been around a long time. I've been in the business since '62. I worked with Lieber and Stoller, who wrote. I think they wrote Yakety Yak. They wrote Ain't Nothing But a Hound Dog. They wrote. They were the top. They were Elvis hits. They were the top um, writers in New York at the time. After I left Motown, I signed with their record label, which was Redbird Records, and I recorded a song that I wrote for them called "You'll Always Be in Style," and I heard on the other side, which turned out not to do a lot then, but now it's very popular on the Northern Soul scene in England. And I'm still going over it in England occasionally doing concerts, because I'm like almost like James Brown over there, you know what I mean? So I gotta go. I gotta go in September over there and do some songs. So yeah, I wrote a lot of the songs that I wrote with J.J. Jackson, with that wrote "But It's All Right." I didn't write that song with him, but I wrote a lot of other songs with him. And George Clinton and J.J. Jackson and a couple other guys. I've written so many songs and recorded a lot of songs. Chef's Records, Rotary Connection, Minnie Riperton, Ramsey Lewis, Muddy Waters, Bo Diddley, they all recorded a song of mine. So don't ask me a name right now, because I have to look at the list, man.
When you worked at Motown Records, like, what was one of the craziest things that ever happened? That kind of thing.
Wow, I guess the craziest thing. Well, it was all an experience, because I was with them about a year and a half. The craziest thing was around about the end of the reign of that particular situation, when Barry Gordy cut off funds for the company, and Ray wanted to continue because we had some pretty good records that were coming out, and she figured if we could just last a little longer, we could, make something happen. So she needed money to keep the office open. Barry had cut off the funds, so she and her husband Eddie Singleton bootlegged my guy, Mary Wells, and she felt like she had a right to do that since she was, on a piece of Motown and had something to do with it. But it was against the law, and Barry had her arrested and put in jail, and they closed the company, and that was a pretty weird thing. In fact, I was with two companies that Barry ended up taking over. One was Motown, the Motown office in New York, and the other was Golden World Records in Detroit, which I was a producer writer there with George Clinton, and we did the first Parliament songs. We did a bunch of good things there. But yeah, I've got a big history with Motown and a lot of little stories. I mean, when you're around people like that, I mean, I was hanging out with. I'm a big fan. Number one, Plastic. I'm like, you can call me Plastic too, because I'm a big fan. So being in the business, it wasn't like being in as a guy that wanted to be a singer, a star, or anything. I just wanted to be around those people. So I ended up hanging. I look around and I'm hanging out with Smokey Robinson and Jackie Wilson. Just hanging out. And then later on, I'm hanging out with the Rolling Stones and Janis Joplin and all those people. So I was always, it was like a Alice in Wonderland trip to me. I didn't really want to be a star because I saw all my friends that were supposedly stars working their butts off. They weren't making any money. They were having all kind of problems, and I wasn't having no problems at all. I was just hanging out with them. And they recorded my songs. So I was receiving money, and I was with a lot of publishing companies. And so now that's what's keeping me alive, actually, or keeping me going. Is I had so many songs out in the '60s. I'm still recording. I'm still receiving royalties from those songs, and they're like, keeping me going. Every time I look around, I go to the post office. There's a check in the mail, baby. So it wasn't all in vain. I thought it may have been for a minute.
I think that's fantastic. But I just want to say, people like Smokey Robinson and the Supremes. I mean, to hang around these people, to me, Smokey Robinson takes some my tears. He wrote some fantastic songs, didn't he?
Smokey was all of our, we all wanted to write like Smokey. That's why George Clinton and I ended up being so tight, because we were always trying to put in those little Holland Dozier the same way. Yeah. They always said things a little different in their lyrics, and clever, extremely clever. So George Clinton and I teamed up a long time ago because we were two guys that always wanted to be a little ahead of things and a little clever than the guys in New York were doing. And I think it worked on occasion, but Smokey, man, I mean, you can't, you beat me to the punch and all that kind of crap. But then I heard Lennon and McCartney, and that changed the whole game for me, as a writer.
Now, Smokey wrote that song, You Really Got a Hold on Me, and the Beatles grabbed it and they put it on their second album. From there, it skyrocketed. I mean, imagine having a song recorded by the Beatles when they're at their height. I mean, you can't get a bigger, how can I say, accolade from anybody. That was a fantastic
I'm afraid
time.
to God that they were find something about to record, because you're right. Once they did it, and they were such big fans of American black music, Muddy Waters stuff. They took Howlin' Wolf over. I mean, nobody, when people ask them, who inspires you guys, and they went, the people that you guys over here wouldn't listen to, didn't want to play on your radio. We loved it and it inspired us. And when the kids over in England found out about, that the Beatles were into like Muddy Waters and Howlin' Wolf and all those people, and the Stones were into them. I mean, that's what that was a big move, and they were cutting records by these guys. I mean, I know some guys that only wrote one or two records, and the Stones or somebody recorded it, and these guys, you make money for the rest of their lives and their families for the rest of their lives. So, you always hope for that as a writer, that would happen, and I still hope one day it'll happen.
Now, I just got to say, to give you the perfect example from Motown, Please Mr. Postman. That was written from Motown, and that's an evergreen song that went forever.
Yeah, and it was written by a very good friend of mine, co-written by a very good friend of mine, Robert Bateman. Robert Bateman was one of the first writers at Motown. He and Janie Bradford, and of course, she co-wrote. Well, the best things in life are free, and you can give
That's
it to
money.
the birds and
Money.
So a lot of royalties there, baby. So yeah, I'm not doing too bad in the royalty department. In fact, I'm getting royalties now from 3 or 4 of the biggest music publishers in the world, because what happened was I had so many songs out in the 60s and 70s in smaller publishers, that these bigger publishing companies came along later and bought everybody out, and they bought a ton of my songs. So I'm getting royalties from Sony, Universal, and everybody else that's big. And so that's good, because they've got a big accounting office, and they send out stuff on time most of the time. So
You were there when Michael Jackson joined Motown?
yeah, I was around. Yeah, because they ended up cutting one of my songs. So of course, I met him and was around him, but I was too close with him. But I mean, I was meeting him again. I mean, he's a little kid, so at the time, so he's cute, but what else can he do? And I mean, he was looking up to us at the time, because they were all fans of George Clinton and Parliament Funkadelic, and I'd been working with George. I was involved with George's original um, efforts, as well as Earth, Wind, and Fire's original efforts. And so I've been in the thick of things, with some pretty big things that happened that changed the business, and that's I'm proud of that too, because they might not have been Earth, Wind, and Fire as you know it now if it hadn't been for some things that I was doing with some people during the time he was organizing his efforts.
Wow, that's what I was going to ask you. I was going to ask you what kind of A&R efforts did you do that, accomplished great things? And that sounds like it was one of them.
I was, Cathy, I consider myself an inspirer or something like that, because some of the friends that I had, I was always a little bit ahead of everybody else. And it wasn't that great, but I was always a little bit ahead of everybody else with my energy and my thinking and my way. So a lot of the kids that were a little younger than me, Shaka Khan, Minnie Riperton, George Clinton, and Maurice White, Donny Hathaway, these are people that hung around me when I had something going and they didn't have nothing going, and they were appreciating the fact that I was bringing them into my space. You know what I'm saying? Which was a trip, because Maurice White, when he and I were hanging out together, he was playing drums with Ramsey, and he wanted to do something different, but he didn't know what he wanted to do. And then he saw my group, Rotary Connection, and he said, I know what I want to do now. And he had asked me several times to be lead the band, and I didn't want to. George Clinton, the same way. George and I were friends way back in the day before Parliament Funkadelic, and we always talked about it being changing, music changing. How is it going to change? And then when I did my thing with Rotary Connection, it sort of opened the door for these guys saying, well, if Sidney can do it, or he's doing it, we can do it, because they were totally different and nobody wanted to deal with them, especially George, because it wasn't a space for him in the music business then. But I came out with Minnie and I with Rotary Connection was one of the first integrated psychedelic rock bands in the history of the business. Sly came slightly after us, but he was on the West Coast. Chambers Brothers, they were the West Coast. but we were the first integrated rock, psychedelic rock band on the West Coast, on the East Coast. And Judge Clinton and Maurice White were my best friends trying to figure out what to do. And when I did it, they caught fire. So they said, okay, well, Sidney opened the door, Sidney and Minnie opened the door. So, and Minnie became, of course, a million selling diva from the whole thing. But that was one experience in my life that the universe guided me towards doing, because it affected music. It helped change music. It helped music move it forth. It made some big stars, some great people. And Judge Clinton and I are the only ones still around. Everybody else is falling by the wayside. So I don't know. I still got people to inspire. I think it's one of the reasons why I'm still hanging around, because I'm 82 years old now, and I still have that urge to work with some more people and inspire someone, because music's got to go another, it continues to evolve, and I want to continue to be involved in that evolving.
Well, we gotta bring up your new release that you just had yesterday on March 21st, which is "The World Turns Me On." That's a fun song.
All the ladies, for some strange reason, a lot of ladies like that song. But it's a true story. I had a day job back in I always like to work, so I had a little job doing almost nothing, sitting around, looking pretty. And one of the guys I worked with, he had this woman, and he when he'd bring her around, everybody go crazy, So I said, "Hey, it's a song here," and so it's a true story song, in fact, everybody told him, don't bring your old lady around because she looked too good, man. We all, she drives us crazy, so leave her at home. But I don't know what happened to them, but she was a fine lady. So to your kind of smile, Cathy.
Smile? Okay. Yeah. So I knew it would have to be a true story, because truth is stranger than fiction sometimes. So, but
yeah.
Let's see what else we could talk about. Well, you did release with Wolf Entertainment and Helmut Wolf, whom we both know. And so we're expecting great things on that. And then you must have other songs on your album that you'll sing in the future. Can you tell us about those as well, or?
Well, if you go on Spotify, I've got about 30 songs on there, because what I'm doing is I'm trying to, at my age, I don't know how long I'm going to be here. So I'm trying to get as many original songs out as I can now, whether they're good or bad. Most of them are good. I just released a song called "I'll Get By." That's sort of a country soul song, because I've always loved country music. I love the lyrics and a lot of stuff. I'm a country boy anyway. And I got that, and like I said, I got about 20, 30 other new songs that are out now. If you go on Spotify or YouTube and put in my name, a lot of stuff will come up. So you can check it out that way. And I got a song that I just released also. It's a ballad in honor of Minnie Riperton that I used to work with in Rotary Connection. And it's called "I Remember Minnie," beautiful ballad song. So I've got a lot of new songs out now.
As I travel down this dusty road in the middle of the night, I can see my future up ahead, and it don't look so bright. I got to learn to live without her and convince myself that she's really gone. So much rain on my windshield, like teardrops from the sky. I only see the world around me now through eyes that never dry. I don't know how I'm going to make it without her by my side, but I'll try. I'll get by. Maybe I'll find someone else to love me. She'll tell all her friends that I'm that guy that makes her smile, like you did all the while we were together. Oh, I'll get by. Maybe I'll find someone else to hold me. She'll tell all her friends that I'm that guy that makes her smile, like you did all the while we were together. Oh, I'll get by. Yes, I'll get by. I'll get by. I'll get by. Honey, I'll get by. Always be around to guide me. I know it will. 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 Oh, I'll get by. Always be around. Yes, I'll get by. I'll get by. Honey, I'll get by. I'll get by.
I'm a totally independent artist right now, which is good in some ways and not so good in a lot of other ways. I mean, nobody's going to want to sign an 82-year-old guy now, no matter, how hot he is. But if somebody offers me a deal, I will take it, because I'd like to do one more big album. But I'm doing pretty good as an independent artist right now. It's a struggle.
Yeah, but I love the way the music comes out of you. You're born to do music. You express yourself. You've done everything, as you said, since '62. I mean, it's such an inspiration for a lot of young people coming up, new generation of fans. So you're just sitting pretty where you are, doing your thing. And I think that's the greatest thing you do. Now, I've got to tell you, Minnie Riperton, right? What was that song she sang when she went so high? Do you remember the song?
Loving You. Yeah. Loving You, yeah.
I got to say something. I go to a cafe and we play that song and I imitate that voice, right? That part when she goes so high just blows my mind. It's like
interesting thing. She studied when I first met Minnie. She was 18 years old, and she wanted to be a star. And she was in a little girls doo-wop group. They weren't doing too well, but when we got into Rotary Connection, that's when she really started doing her thing, because a lot of people weren't catching on to it at the time. It was new. And of course, I always liked, kids with new sounds. And I helped her develop that because she wasn't going to do it. She did it on the first Rotary Connection album, but it was too freaky for even her to want to continue to do it. And I, along with the Marshall Chess and Charles Stepney, arranger, we really talked her into getting into developing it, because she realized what an asset it was.
Okay, Sidney, now where can everyone find you? You must have a main website.
Yeah, it's SidneyBarnes.net.
Okay.
And I'm on Facebook. I got a couple of sites on Facebook, but you go to Facebook and find me. I don't do Instagram yet. I got the YouTube link, a bunch of songs on YouTube. And SidneyBarnes.net. And I got a book. I got an autobiography that I released a couple of years ago.
Oh, lovely.
Yeah, I'm trying to get it back on Amazon.com. But if you Facebook me, I will. And I'm also got Sidney Barnes 954 at gmail.com. So y'all can, I don't mind people sending me an email. I like to hear from anybody I can, and tell me you want a book, and then we'll take care of it that way. But I love you guys. Thank you so much, Plastic and Cathy. It's been great. And Your Lady Turns Me On should be a nice record. I did it with Parliament Funkadelic in mind too, so it's a little funky. It's my funk side coming out.
I got to say, you're the greatest. We want to put this out to the world. Thank you again, Sidney.
I don't mean to disrespect you, and if I do, I apologize, my friend. What you talking about, man? But there's a problem that's come between us. Say what? That could cause our friendship to end. What is it, man? Your old lady turns me on. You're my best friend, and I know it's wrong. Your old lady turns me on. You're my best friend, so I'll leave her alone. She's got eyes that sparkle when she smiles, and such a pleasant attitude. And when she walks into the room, there's a tender glow and the smell of sweet perfume. Your old lady turns me on. You're my best friend, and I know it's wrong. Your old lady, she's so fine. She's so sexy. The girl blows my mind. Oh, friendship or love. Friendship or love. Friendship or love. Friendship or love. She's so sexy. She's so fine. She's so sexy. She's so fine. Now I've decided to keep our friendship, 'cause we've been friends for a long, long time. But if you ever break up with that woman, I'm gonna try my best to make her mine. Your old lady turns me on. You're my best friend, and I know it's wrong. Your old lady turns my head, but I'd rather have your friendship instead. She's so fine, she ought to be a stripper, make a man fall in love, wanna be a big chick. She'll like to get her in the bed for a night, show the sweet little thing, what a grown man likes. Sure, all the freaky things that I like to do. Want me to? Yeah, I do that too. See, I'm a big old freak in the 3rd degree. I got 47 ways to make you come for me. So if you wanna keep it jack, you better watch your back, 'cause every player in town